finally, they shipped us down to the dock. We got on board a ship. It was a naval vessel. And we went to the West Coast.
But before that, weren't you in some base in Hawaii where you were killing time? A big basin.
Yeah, and you were playing basketball and you broke your arm?
No, I didn't break that
No, not
until.
then.
Oh, this was later?
Yeah,
Okay.
Camp Catlin.
Yeah.
It was a Marine base.
And that's where you were for a while, killing time. And the reason you were killing time was it wasn't safe to cross the Pacific to San
Well,
Francisco.
that was while we were sitting in Hickam.
Hickam. Yeah,
Well,
I knew you had been there. And you were swimming in the pool every day?
Paul and
You and Paul. We played bridge with Paul and his wife. They lived down right near the airport in Fort Lauderdale.
But we got on board ship, headed for California. And I overheard the crew members on board, they were up sunning themselves before we hit the fog of San Francisco. And some of them were saying how much cash they were coming in with, $600. To me, they were millionaires.
They were playing poker.
No, they were just sitting around talking.
And where did they get all that money? The pay you were getting?
The pay that had accrued,
Couldn't spend it anywhere.
yeah. But as we were getting close to San Francisco, for some reason, I went way down in the bowels of the ship with Reader's Digest. I stretched out on a bed down there and was reading Reader's Digest, and I heard like anti-aircraft fire. I thought, oh, they're having the last anti-aircraft practice before getting into harbor. And then there was a loud boom. So they were firing we had a 5-inch gun, one 5-inch gun set up, and they were practicing with that. Then there was this loud boom that shook the whole side of the ship. I knew what that was. It was a depth charge. So I figured, oh boy, we're under submarine attack.
Mm-hmm.
So I went charging up.
Would it be higher?
Everybody was up on the upper deck. And it was very heavy fog, and we were barely moving. There was no more firing. And we watched the ship ahead of us. He'd make a sharp left turn, then a sharp right turn. And we had to do the same thing. Apparently they had been mining the San Francisco harbor for all those weeks that I was sitting in Hawaii. I heard later on that San Francisco harbor was closed due to submarine attack.
Mm.
And I could hear the foghorns of the Golden Gate Bridge. We heard them on the way out, even though it was relatively clear. And coming back, you realized that there was one over here and one over here. And as we got about as close as you could get, straight line between the foghorns, the fog lifted just a little bit, and you could see the middle portion of the Golden Gate Bridge, and traffic very slowly going across the bridge. Not a sound till we got directly under the bridge. Everybody gave a shout.
Excuse me.
Boy, and it echoed back all the bridge.
Right.
And we went on beyond, and the fog closed in, and it was silent again.
Wow.
And then we were within the harbor.
So when they made those sharp turns, were they avoiding mines?
Yeah,
Okay.
the, we got to Santa Ana. It was a clearing center, Santa Ana.
Right.
Central is, I don't know, Santa Ana Classification Center. They would determine whether you're gonna be a pilot, or a bombardier, or a navigator, or just a gunner.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to that base, almost immediately, they told us, you are, since you've all come in from overseas, you're getting a 10-day furlough.
I think somebody dialed the wrong number.
And you've just spent the first day on base, so now you have a 9-day furlough. I don't know how we did it, but we got tickets on the trains and went for New York.
Hmm.
Took 4 days to New York, 1 day in New York, 4 days back.
And what was the reason for going back to New York?
To see the family.
Okay. Just for 1 day, isn't it?
Yeah, it was worth it after you.
Yeah. Because you had been gone how many months at this point? 9 months?
Oh,
You still,
it had been about 14 or 15 months
Oh.
before the last furlough that I had had.
Hey Tom, how do you pause that?
I can pause it right here.
Just for future reference.
That's a good question.
Forget it. So then you went back to San Francisco?
We landed in San Francisco. They must have put us on a train down to LA,
Mm-hmm.
to Santa Ana classification. And after the 10-day furlough, why, they gave us all sorts of tests. And we would interview somebody who had the results of the classification tests. And I went in and talked with them, and they said, we're gonna make a navigator out of you. I said, why? I wanna be a pilot. They said, well, you got perfect score on navigator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got a 9 on the navigator. 9 was perfect. And they said, you got an 8 on a bombardier. I said, how do I do on a pilot? They said, about 3.
No way.
I said, well, and then they said, but we have made pilots out of people who got 1. I said, okay, I want pilot. They said, well, if anything happens, come back to us and we'll immediately make you a navigator. Well, I never went back.
you didn't take your after lunch pills,
Uh-oh.
George,
I'll pause this.
Okay,
okay?
did you interrupt it?
Yeah, I paused it.
Now you're rolling.
We're rolling.
It says video mode. Okay, it says 39 minutes.
Are we going?